The haunting melody drifted through the hotel lobby, stopping Eliza Montgomery mid-stride. 20 years melted away in an instant as the familiar notes wrapped around her like an embrace she tried desperately to forget. She turned slowly toward the grand piano in the corner, her breath catching in her throat. The man playing, head bent in concentration, fingers dancing across the keys with practiced precision, couldn't possibly be him. Yet the song was unmistakable. A composition written just for her, one that no one else should know. Eliza stood frozen, briefcase clutched tightly in her manicured hand, the board meeting she was supposed to be heading to suddenly insignificant. At 42, she had built an empire from nothing, becoming one of the most powerful CEOs in the country. Her life was meticulously ordered, predictable, and empty in ways she refused to acknowledge. Until now, until this melody from her past threatened to unravel everything. Michael Chen hadn't touched a piano in public for years. Playing had become something private, shared only with his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. But the hotel manager had been desperate when their regular pianist called in sick, and Michael needed the extra money. Single parenthood wasn't easy, especially with Lily's medical bills piling up. So here he was, playing the one song he'd promised himself to forget, the notes flowing from memory as if no time had passed. He didn't notice the elegant woman in the tailored suit standing motionless across the lobby, her face drained of color. He didn't see how her hand trembled as she reached for the wall to steady herself. Michael was lost in the music, in memories of summer nights, whispered promises, and the girl with amber eyes who had once believed his music could change the world. "Daddy plays that song when he's sad," a small voice said, startling Eliza from her trance. She looked down to find a little girl with dark pigtails and a bright yellow dress standing beside her, watching Michael with unmistakable pride. "Does he?" Eliza managed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Uh-huh. He says it's about a princess who turned into a star." The girl tilted her head curiously. "Why are you crying?" Eliza touched her cheek, surprised to find it wet. "I knew someone who played this song once. A long time ago." "Was he your friend?" "Yes," Eliza said softly. "He was my best friend." 22 years earlier, Eliza Wong had been a scholarship student with big dreams and bigger insecurities. The daughter of Chinese immigrants who ran a small grocery store, she'd felt perpetually out of place at the prestigious Westlake Conservatory. Until Michael Chen sat beside her at orientation, offering a shy smile and a package of strawberry Pocky. "My mom always packs too much," he'd said, pushing the snack toward her. "She thinks I'll waste away without constant feeding." That simple act of kindness had been the beginning. Both music students, she on violin, he on piano, they'd spent countless hours practicing together, challenging each other, dreaming together. Michael composed while Eliza played business manager, already showing the acumen that would later define her career. They planned to conquer the music world together, his genius, her drive. And somewhere between Mozart and midnight study sessions, they fell in love. The melody Michael had written for her 18th birthday became their song, a promise of the future they would build. Eliza's star, he'd called it, because she shone so brightly he sometimes feared she would burn beyond his reach. He'd been right. When the prestigious Keller Fellowship was awarded to Eliza instead of Michael, the one they'd both applied for, the one he'd been favored to win, everything changed. The opportunity would take her to New York, opening doors neither had dreamed possible. Michael had celebrated with her, genuine in his joy for her success, never letting her see his disappointment. But Eliza had seen it anyway. Had felt the weight of his sacrifice, the burden of his support. Had convinced herself that true love meant letting go, that staying would only lead to resentment. That he deserved someone who wouldn't outshine him. So she'd left. Changed her major from music to business. Cut all ties. Transformed herself from Eliza Wong to Eliza Montgomery after marriage, and subsequent divorce, to a banking executive. Buried the girl who had once played violin until her fingers bled, who had once loved a boy who created music that made her soul take flight. And now here he was. Still playing their song. "Lily, don't bother the nice lady," Michael called, finally noticing his daughter's wandering. He finished the piece with a gentle flourish, then stood to collect the child. And then he saw her. The recognition was immediate, a physical jolt that made him miss a step. Those eyes. He would know those eyes anywhere, even set in a face that had matured from pretty to striking, framed by an elegant bob instead of the long black hair he remembered running his fingers through. "Eliza," he whispered, the name rusty from disuse. She couldn't move, couldn't speak. 22 years of carefully constructed walls threatened to crumble with that single word. "You know my daddy?" Lily asked, looking between them with interest. "We were friends in college," Michael explained, his eyes never leaving Eliza's face. "A very long time ago. Before I was born?" "Before a lot of things," he said softly. Eliza finally found her voice. "I heard the music. I didn't know. I never expected." "Me neither." His smile was hesitant, a shadow of the one she remembered. "I'm just filling in. The regular pianist is sick." "You're not, you don't play professionally?" Something flickered across his face. "No. I teach music at Westside Elementary now." The silence stretched between them, 2 decades of unspoken words creating an almost tangible barrier. "Daddy, I'm hungry," Lily announced, breaking the tension. Michael seemed grateful for the interruption. "We should go." "It was good to see you, Eliza." "Wait," she said, the word escaping before she could stop it. "Could we talk? Just for a few minutes?" He hesitated, then nodded. "Lily and I were heading to the cafe across the street. You're welcome to join us, if you have time." Time. The one thing Eliza Montgomery never had enough of. The one thing she suddenly couldn't bear to waste. "I have time," she said, and was surprised to find she meant it. The cafe was cozy, with mismatched furniture and local art on the walls. Nothing like the sleek establishments Eliza frequented. Lily ordered hot chocolate with extra whipped cream, then became absorbed in a coloring book Michael produced from his worn backpack, leaving the adults in an awkward silence. "She's beautiful," Eliza finally said. "She has your smile." "And her mother's spirit," Michael replied. "Fearless." "Is her mother?" Eliza left the question hanging. "She died when Lily was 4. Cancer." His voice was matter-of-fact, but Eliza could see the grief still lingering in the corners of his eyes. "I'm so sorry, Michael." He nodded acknowledgement. "And you?" "The ring finger is bare, but that doesn't mean much these days." "Divorced. 8 years now. No children." She twisted her coffee cup. "Career took precedence." "Ah. And what career would that be?" Eliza hesitated. "I'm in corporate finance." It wasn't a lie, exactly. Montgomery Innovations was one of the largest financial technology companies in the country. But something held her back from revealing the full extent of her success, perhaps the memory of how her ambition had once driven them apart. "You always were good with numbers," Michael said. "Remember how you used to budget our coffee runs to the penny?" The memory brought an unexpected smile. "You used to sneak extra dollars into the jar when I wasn't looking. You weren't supposed to know about that." "I know everything, Michael Chen. Always did." Their eyes met, and for a moment, they were 20 again, full of dreams and possibilities. "Not everything," he said quietly. Before she could ask what he meant, Lily tugged at her father's sleeve, showing him her completed drawing, a colorful rendition of what appeared to be a princess floating among stars. "Is this your princess who turned into a star?" Eliza asked. Lily nodded enthusiastically. "Daddy says she was the most beautiful princess in the world, but she had to go away to shine her light for everyone. Eliza's throat tightened as she caught Michael's gaze. That's a lovely story. It's not finished yet, Lily informed her seriously. Daddy says the best stories take time. She's right about that, Michael said, ruffling his daughter's hair affectionately. Some stories take decades to unfold. The conversation shifted to safer topics: Lily's school, Michael's teaching, the changing landscape of their old college town. Eliza found herself relaxing, laughing more than she had in years. She'd forgotten how easy it was to talk to Michael, how he listened as if every word mattered. When Lily excused herself to use the restroom, the atmosphere shifted again. "Why did you really leave, Eliza?" Michael asked suddenly. "The truth, not the reasons you gave in that letter." The question caught her off guard. "I told you. The fellowship was an opportunity one couldn't pass up." "That's not what I'm asking. You could have taken the fellowship without ending us. Without cutting me out completely." His voice remained gentle, but she could hear the old hurt beneath. "One day we were planning our future, and the next you were gone. No discussion, no compromise. Just a letter saying we wanted different things." Eliza stared at her hands. "I thought I was doing what was best for both of us. By deciding for me? Without even asking what I wanted? You would have followed me to New York," she said. "Given up your own opportunities. Resented me eventually. That wasn't your choice to make. Wasn't it? I saw your face when they announced the fellowship, Michael. For just a second, before you covered it with congratulations. I saw the disappointment. Of course I was disappointed. I wanted that fellowship. But I was genuinely happy for you." He leaned forward. "Did it ever occur to you that we could have figured it out together? That maybe I had applied to graduate programs in New York too? That I was planning to propose that weekend?" The revelation hit her like a physical blow. "You were going to propose? I had the ring in my pocket when you handed me that letter." His laugh held no humor. "Talk about timing." Lily returned before Eliza could respond, chattering about a dog she'd seen through the window. The moment passed, but Eliza felt shaken to her core. All these years, she'd told herself she'd made the right choice, the mature choice. What if she'd been wrong? As they prepared to leave, Michael hesitated. "Lily has a doctor's appointment, but maybe we could talk again? If you're going to be in town for a while." "Doctor's appointment?" Eliza asked, concern automatically rising. "Is everything okay?" A shadow crossed Michael's face. "Lily has a heart condition. Nothing immediately life-threatening, but she needs regular monitoring. And eventually, surgery." "I'm so sorry," Eliza said, her heart aching for the little girl who had so quickly charmed her. "Is there anything I can do?" "Just being here, talking like this, it's more than I ever expected." He smiled, that same warm smile that had once been her anchor. "I'd like to hear about your life, the real version. If you're willing to share it." Eliza made a decision. "I'm staying at this hotel. Have dinner with me tonight? After Lily's appointment. We can really talk." The surprise on his face was worth the impulsiveness of the invitation. "I'd like that." As they parted ways, Eliza finally sent the text she'd been avoiding, postponing her board meeting, something she'd never done before. Then she made another call, one that would change everything. That evening, Michael arrived at the hotel restaurant looking more nervous than Eliza had ever seen him. He'd changed into a button-down shirt that had seen better days, his hair still damp from a recent shower. "Lily's with my neighbor," he explained as he sat down. "She loves Mrs. Chen's dumplings, no relation, by the way. Just a coincidence that makes Lily think they're secretly family." "How was her appointment?" His expression sobered. "The same. Her heart isn't growing properly with the rest of her. The surgery she needs." He trailed off, then shook his head. But that's not what tonight is about. Tonight is about 22 years of catching up. Over dinner, Eliza finally told him the truth about her life, the company she'd built, the success she'd achieved, the emptiness that sometimes threatened to consume her despite it all. Michael listened without judgment, asking questions that showed genuine interest rather than envy. In turn, he shared his journey, the music composition degree he'd completed, the brief stint with an orchestra in Chicago, the teaching career that had become his passion after Lily was born. The struggle of single parenthood compounded by medical bills that kept him awake at night. The surgery Lily needs isn't covered by insurance, he admitted. It's experimental, but it's her best chance at a normal life. I've been saving for years, picking up extra gigs like the one where you found me, but... How much? Eliza asked. Michael named a figure that would have once seemed astronomical to both of them. Now, to Eliza, it represented less than a rounding error in her quarterly earnings report. Let me help, she said immediately. Eliza, no. I didn't tell you this to ask for money. I know you didn't. That's exactly why I want to help. She reached across the table, covering his hand with hers. Please, Michael. Let me do this one thing. He stared at their joined hands. Why? Because I've spent 22 years building a fortune and no one to share it with. Because that little girl deserves every chance at life. Because... She took a deep breath. Because I've regretted walking away from you every day since I did it. The confession hung between them, raw and honest in a way Eliza rarely allowed herself to be. I can't accept charity, Michael finally said. Even from you. Then consider it an investment. In Lily's future. She squeezed his hand. We can work out the details later. Just, don't say no yet. Their conversation continued late into the night, moving from the restaurant to the hotel lobby, where Michael found himself drawn to the piano once again. The space was nearly empty at that hour, just a few night owls lingering over drinks. Play something, Eliza urged. Something new. His fingers hovered over the keys. I haven't composed anything in years. I don't believe that. A small smile. Okay, nothing I've shared with anyone. Music became private after you left. Share it with me now. Michael began to play, hesitantly at first, then with growing confidence. The melody was nothing like Eliza's Star, it was deeper, richer, filled with complexity that spoke of life lived and lessons learned. Eliza closed her eyes, letting the music wash over her, hearing in it all the things Michael couldn't say aloud. When the final notes faded, she opened her eyes to find him watching her, vulnerability plain on his face. That was beautiful, she whispered. It's called Second Chances, he said. I started writing it this afternoon. The next morning, Eliza made 2 calls that would change the course of multiple lives. The first was to her assistant, instructing her to transfer funds for Lily's surgery to an account she was setting up. The second was to her board of directors, informing them she would be extending her stay indefinitely. When she met Michael and Lily for breakfast, she came with a proposal, not the romantic kind, not yet, but one that opened a door to possibilities neither had dared to imagine. Montgomery Innovations is opening a music education foundation, she told them. Providing instruments, lessons, and opportunities to underprivileged children across the country. We need a director, someone with teaching experience, musical knowledge, and a passion for making a difference. Michael stared at her. You're offering me a job? I'm offering you a partnership, Eliza corrected. Your vision, my resources. The salary would more than cover Lily's medical expenses, and the position is here, in your hometown. No need to uproot her life. You created a foundation overnight? I've been considering it for years, she admitted. Just needed the right inspiration. The right person to lead it. And what about you? Your life is in New York. Eliza smiled. Turns out, CEOs can work remotely these days. And I've been thinking it's time for